Okay, first item on the agenda is our personnel changes.
I make a motion that we go into executive session
For the discussion of personnel.
for discussion of personnel.
I have a motion, do we have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Listen to the voters.
Can we speak?
Caldwell, aye.
Bartlett, aye.
Gales,
You're
aye.
elected by us.
Gilroy, no. Uber, no.
What are you afraid of? To listen to the public?
Well, so I will turn the time over to the board.
I will make a motion then. I make a motion that we renew the contract of our Superintendent Mark Dockins for the next 2 years.
And a second. Any further discussion?
I have one item, and that would be at the discretion of the board. At the discretion of the board, but I've had a number of people, normally, and I realize there's an astronomical amount of people here, but at most of our open meetings, we have a small amount of time for patron input. And I know that would be at the discretion of the board, but we've got a lot of people here that's taken time, and I personally would like to hear what some of them have to say.
I feel that there was unfinished business from our last executive session, and I have a bunch of questions that I would like to have answered that I don't think the public needs to deal with at this time.
I agree that there are certain things that take place in executive session that's not privy to the public, and that's why you have closed sessions. But we have discussed this in length already in a closed session, and there's no reason to go into further discussion in regards to this. I think that it's important that we do here. I agree with Greg that we have people here that want to speak, and I think, Mr. President, that you should give them such opportunity. And furthermore, I've been receiving phone calls all day, and not one of them are solicited. I haven't solicited anybody for any kind of information. Phone calls and emails, and I have yet to receive one that is in negative. I recognize that there are probably people out there, but I have not received those. But I know that there is great support for this superintendent, and I will say that I've worked with him for the whole tenure of his superintendency. And I'm the kind of individual who has an open slate and allow people to prove themselves, just as I hope that they would do with me. And I will tell this group, as well as the whole community of Vernal and Uintah County, that we have a man of impeccable standards, that he has served well, he is a caring man, he has done many acts of service that none of us, even this board, knows about, but maybe an individual or two does. He has served with great energy. He's in the office early in the morning and late at night. He knows his employees, not only the administrators, but many of the teachers, if not all of them by name. He is well received and respected by this community, and it shows by just a few number who are here this night. I see no reason, and have received, I should say, I've been given no reason why we should terminate the employment of our superintendent. And if it is out there, I've yet to receive it, and I hope that I do so, because I think that it's a foolish mistake for this board to act and release this man from the position that he is serving in. He has done great wonders for this.
another item I'd like to bring forth. I know some of you out there have it, but there was a survey done today with all the teachers in the district. There was 2 questions that was asked, and they were, do you as a teacher of Uintah School District wish the employment of Mark Dockins, Superintendent of Uintah School District, to continue? The responses were 93.26% yes. The other question was, do you as a teacher of Uintah School District support Mark Dockins as the Superintendent of Uintah School District? 94.65% were in the affirmative on that question. As a board member here, I'm really disturbed here tonight that if we're starting to lose the context of why we're here as a board, and number 1 being our students, and we cannot lose sight of them. Number 2, the front line and our teachers is what make our students great. And if we have that kind of support for that man, Mr. Dockins, I as Alan, I cannot fathom, and I think we're doing a great injustice because our teachers have proven in this survey that they are happy to work for this man. And if they are happy teachers, that makes a difference to our students.
That's the most I've heard Alan say since I've been on the board. And right now, my issue is not with the superintendent, it is not with the employees, but I have a board member sitting on each side of me that I feel they owe me the courtesy to go into executive session and let me ask them questions of them.
Why? Maintain the forum.
For President, will we be able to hear from some of these people?
Will we be going into closed session?
No?
Nothing to say.
So you're refusing to take input, or refusing to go into closed session?
Speak in the microphone and don't mumble.
Why are you guys, what's the termination? What's the ground? Is that only for the 5 of you?
You answered to us.
There's a motion on the table for public.
Point of order. There's a point of order. There's been a motion and a second.
There are things that were talked about in a closed session that are supposed to remain in closed session, and somehow those things did not stay in the closed session. Somehow they ended up being spread, which I think is very disrespectful, to not honor the protocol that we always do when we're talking about personnel. Do we ever debate or talk about an individual who is an employee of this district? Do we ever debate it in a public meeting? We don't. And there's a reason for that. And each is entitled to their own story that they think about what this board is up to. And I understand that there are concerns. I understand that. but we never do this with anyone in personnel. We never debate in front of everybody what the things are that person is doing wrong or is in trouble about or anything like that. We never do that. And so, to me, I don't think this is any different. And you can have your opinion on that, but state law says that we can go into closed session for personnel. Do we have to? No, I realize that. But as a courtesy to not drag people's names through the mud, I choose to not debate it in a public meeting. Because I don't wish to tarnish anyone's character.
Will you listen to like 5 patrons before you go into closed session?
I would like to hear from some patron input, if that's agreeable with you. And I do think it's important that we hear our constituents. But you have to remember that this room is only a fraction of the constituents that we represent. And I personally
We're the
have...
ones that showed up.
Yes, I understand that. And I personally have heard both sides of the argument repeatedly. And as board members, we're supposed to take the information that we know and the experiences that we've had personally and make a wise decision based on our information.
Yeah, we'll take some patron input. We'll take 5 individuals if they'd like to take a couple of minutes.
It was impressive to me that Mark was a superintendent that actually not just visited the schools, but as different principals had to be out of their schools, he would actually step in and be principal for a day or for a few hours. And I don't know any of the past superintendents that did that. And I was impressed. And I know that as in this past year when Leonard could not fulfill his responsibilities at the school, Mark again stepped in and met with teachers and staff. And he also came, and even when Leonard reached the point that he could not speak, Mark would still come to the house and visit with Leonard and make sure that he knew what was going on in the school and talk to him about different things that were going on and what Leonard thought. In all of these things, I have seen Mark as professional, caring, concerned, and I think that he has led us through some difficult times and that he is the right person to take us ahead in these kind of more difficult times. Thank you.
I've known Mr. Dockins as a student, athlete, and later on in life, friend. My wife teaches here at school. And he has been incredible. He's an incredible person to represent our community, our school district, anybody. We'd be lucky to have this guy. And why people pay big bucks to get this kind of representation that he has been given to us. And to lose that would just be, it would be foolish for us to even consider losing that. I can give you examples of all day long why he's a great guy and all that, but as a student, he pushed me, as an athlete, he pushed me, and as I grew up and things went on, watching my wife work with him and for him, there's been times there was a tragedy in the family, some time ago, and he was one of the first people to call on behalf of the district to give us his condolences. He went in the next day, made sure she could get done what she needed to get done so she could get back to her family during those difficult times. And that's all I really have to say is you have an incredible person here. People pay big bucks to get the kind of representation that Mr. Dockins has done for us. So don't let that go away. That'd be a big mistake.
Mr. Dockins has always served as an example to all of us in the district. Our entire district is indebted to him for steering us through the challenges of the recession. As the global economy started to slump, we as teachers, staff, and members of the school district were afraid that we were going to be adversely affected by losses of jobs or rifts. It is due to Mr. Dockins' brilliance and ingenuity that we were able to retain all of our jobs
and there were no rifts. We appreciate the initiatives that he has started, including professional learning communities. I have to tell you, honestly, I was against him in the beginning, and I fought hard for it. And I yelled about it, and I even talked to the board about it. But guess what? He was right all along. It is great to collaborate. The new performance evaluations, which measure our effectiveness on the basis of qualitative and not quantitative methods, is deeply appreciated by all the members of our district. We are also grateful to Mr. Dockins that he would take the time to meet with the Teachers Association on a monthly basis and ask us for our input on important issues and matters. Mark Dockins has instilled professionalism and core values in all of us. We have grown professionally due to his efforts. Thank you, Mr. Dockins, for your guidance and your supervision. On a final note, I would like to say this. Working for a man like Mark Dockins has started to make me feel left out by all my UEA colleagues on the Wasatch Front. Every time they complain about their superintendent, I really have nothing to say. Thank you, Mr. Dockins.
Read the emails that you have received today that you haven't read. Listen to the voicemails and look at the calls that you've screened, that we've sent you. I know it's been brought up already, but please look again at the survey that shows the support for Mark Dockins and that he's received from his employees here in the school district. Looking at all that support, looking around you with all the emails that you've received, if you have any conscience at all, you will renew Mark Dockins' contract and do what is right for the students and the community here in Uintah Basin. Please put the needs of the students before your own personal agendas. Thank you.
I'd like to ask a few questions. I don't expect answers, of course, right now, but really, is Mark Dockins, or is the superintendent universally disliked at the school district? The district office, the people he works with the most. Is there universal discontent by a majority of the teachers in Uintah School District and aides and all the people that Mark comes into contact with? Has Mark Dockins done something shocking or illegal in the last year? I would submit that the answer is no to all of those things, and that's one reason, Risha and Sharon, why so many people are opposed to going into closed session, because we don't understand what the heck the problem is. Thank you.
As a past union president for the Career Education Association, which is a school just outside Chicago, I have dealt with many personnel issues with the school board and superintendent. I've been involved in, with striking. I have been involved in getting rid of superintendents. And I feel very qualified to stand up here and say that Mark Dockins supports me as an educator and appears to me to have the best intentions for the fellow teachers, administrators, students, and the community. I haven't dealt with Mark in the capacity of union work, but I am serving with him on Eagle View's STT team. He's very supportive of the STT work that we are doing. He's also a member who shares his ideas and opinions as many other members of the committee. Superintendent Dockins is also aware of what's going on in my classroom. Not only does he check stage data, but he's aware that my class as a whole and how they're doing. He's able to tell me how I'm being compared to other teachers. He's also made the trek out to Eagle View and has visited classrooms. In my 28 years of experience, I have never seen a superintendent in my classroom, ever. Many of you here tonight have had the opportunity to work, many of you here tonight have not had the opportunity to work outside the basin and have no idea what other districts are like. I am standing up here tonight to say you have no idea the gem you have in Superintendent Dockins.
I had Mr. Dockins when I was in high school, and he was a fabulous educator then, and he's even better now. When I took my kindergarten testing, I ran into him I'm sorry, I just wanted your attention. I ran into him, and I spoke to him. And he mentioned to me that he was making the rounds at all the schools that day. And since then, I don't know if he has even noticed, I volunteer at my son's school on a weekly basis, and I have seen him there. He makes the rounds to the schools. What superintendent has ever made the rounds to the schools on a regular basis? He is there. He knows what is going on in every single school. He is a good man. He is involved and caring. The only other thing I would like to say is I have 2 points of order I would like to bring to your attention. In your own policies and code of ethics, it says that you are to think of the students first. With an over 90% approval rating from your teachers, the people educating our children, how can this man be the wrong person for the job? Again, in your own policies and code of ethics, it says it is your job to do policy making, not administration. With a over 90% approval rating from the staff in this district, it is not your job to administrate him. He is doing his job. Your job is for policy making at this point, not to administrate this man and micromanage him. He is doing his job.
I came from Wasatch School District, and Wasatch School District is a similar sized school district. I saw the superintendent for Wasatch School District at the beginning of the year orientation meeting. I never saw the superintendent again. It's great, like walking down into the commons at the high school, and Mark Dockins is down there during passing time. Like, I don't know if you realize how in other school districts and other places, you don't see the superintendent like that. The other thing that really has impressed me about Uintah School District, and I do in my mind, and I know that people from Wasatch School District might look at what I have to say and be, upset about this, but we did the same process with PLCs at Wasatch School District, and the whole time we were faking it. We weren't a good PLC. We didn't look at data. None of our administrators looked at our data. There was no real accountability for teachers to make sure that we were doing our job right. And I've been so impressed by this school district and the way that we look at data and the way that we think about how we can make our students better every day. And Mark Dockins is the driving force behind that. So think about that.
I just have a couple questions for you. I don't need to say anything nice about the superintendent because it's all been said. What I have to say is this. If the man has done something to hurt the children of this school district, then he doesn't deserve to be employed by this school district. If he has done anything illegal that can be proven through due process of law, then he doesn't deserve to be an employee of this school district. If he has done anything against school district policy, then he doesn't deserve to be an employee of the school district. If he has done none of those three things, then there is absolutely no reason that he should not be able to continue his employment here, because the man loves the students, the man loves the employees of this district, and he will bend over backwards for any and every one of them. You say you've heard from both sides of the issue. It's always the squeaky wheel that speaks first. Are you sure that the majority don't want it? Because I think you're mistaken. Thank you.
You talked about what's out there. Everybody's out there, and you know what they do? They talk. And that's where you think it leaked. Maybe some of the rumors, because I shared several rumors with Sharon last night. Maybe some rumors hit really close to home. I don't know. But that's what happens. Use your heart to Mark Dockins. Thank you.
The first time I heard the name Mark Dockins was, we had an English opening at the high school, And Ken Bunderson was the principal, and he walked down the hall, and I said, "Did you find me just an English teacher?" And he said, "Yes, I did. I think I just hired Superman." And he said, "Not only does he look like Superman, but if he's everything he says he is, he will be Superman." And I've watched this man for 20 years, and he is Superman. I had the opportunity of being on the school board with Alan and with Rod Anderson, who's here tonight. And we're the three that appointed Mark, along with two others, to the school board. I have been in this district and involved in district politics for 40 years. I've worked for 8 different superintendents. I know where the skeletons are all buried in this district. I know that there wasn't one of the 7 before this that wasn't flawed, and some of them were deeply flawed. There were mismanagement of travel money, there was mismanagement of funds, there was inappropriate personal behavior, there were all those kinds of things that led board members to release superintendents before this. None of that exists in this situation. Risha, I understand your frustration with SAGE testing. I understand your frustration with CORE, and I get it. And I'm not sure if I weren't a teacher that I wouldn't have some of the same frustrations. But the school board isn't the place to change that. It has to be done with the legislature, and it has to be done with the funding people, because if you vote tomorrow to do away with that testing in this district, you will lose your funding. And as much as that bothers you and makes you angry and you're offended by testing, this man can't change that. And you can ask him to change it, but it's state law and it's federal law, and he is following the law. So let's work with him and work with our legislators and see if we can get a kind of testing that you're more comfortable with, if that's what your issue is. I would ask sincerely that you take a look at this guy, and there's not a reason. He is the most honest, ethical, decent man that I have ever seen serve this district, and I encourage you to support him and continue his employment.
I get to enjoy Mark Dockins from a couple of standpoints, because yes, I'm a teacher in the school district, but I was also raised here. Lady named Amanda Morris, and to come back and work in the school, the schools that I grew up in, and to be able to work under the superintendent that I had as a student, and all of the students know him. It's a joy, it's an honor, really, because I don't know anything else. First most, and Mark, he knew me as a student. He knew me growing up and in high school, and he knows me as a teacher. Again, as many people have said tonight, he is in our schools. Not only is he in our schools, but he's visiting with us. He listens to us as teachers. He doesn't just pass by in the hallway and give a quick hello, but he'll shake your hand. He'll spend a few minutes talking with us, asking how we're doing. And for us as teachers, that means a lot. Out on the front lines with those students every day, it's stressful. It's hard. Some days, some of us, we don't feel like getting out of bed in the morning. But we know that we can because we have Mark backing us up. And again, with others, I agree, it would be a huge mistake to dismiss him as our superintendent.
What we do know is that we have an amazing leader, and we're all here for him. How many of you are here because you support Mark Dockins as our leader? I think your constituents have just spoken.
I was honored about the second year of service with the Teachers Appreciation. The man that presented that to me was Mark Dockins. He told the audience, I see this guy around all the time. I looked through the records to see where a Yost might be, but there was none. But I see him there, and he's very deserving, and I was appreciated to get that award. Now, I want to tell you folks that Mark Dockins is a hero. We need more heroes. Verbal needs heroes. We have one. Superman's the hero, but we have our heroes. Don't you forget it. He represents all of us, and he does it so well. I'm glad that I have my hero, Mark Dockins.
I heard everything I needed to hear here tonight when Alan Huber said that he knows of no reason why Mr. Dockins' contract should not be renewed. If he had done something egregious, something illegal, immoral, unethical, this would be a unanimous decision up there. The fact that this appears to be a 2-3 vote tells me that this is a personality issue, not on the school board. I feel like one of the accomplishments that I am proudest of was the day we hired Mark Dockins. If you all choose to let him go, it will be one of your saddest days for the school board members.
19 years ago, a school board not unlike yourselves, from a pool of candidates that was local and loved this community and understood the needs of this community, chose to hire a superintendent who came from outside of our district. That superintendent at my graduation in 1998 told all of us how horrible our generation was. He told us that we would never amount to anything, and this was at our graduation. Now, I don't remember much more of that graduation because myself, the rest of my class, the fine administrators at Uintah High School, and the rest of our parents in attendance tuned out until it was time to read the names. Now we have an administrator, a superintendent, who cares about the students, obviously. People will remember Mark Dockins for the rest of their lives. And if you need to look any further, please take note of the students on my right who are here supporting their superintendent. I have never once seen a student at a school board meeting, and I've been to plenty of them. Our students need their education system. Our schools need to be operating at their full potential, and we have a man that's doing that for us.
I have served with Mr. Dockins on the Children's Task Force for a number of years, as well as the Children's Justice Center Advisory Board. Mr. Dockins has come to the meetings. He's represented the school district in an amazing way. He sat there as a student service supervisor and as a superintendent. And he's represented not only our students, but their families. And he's watched out for them as a whole. And I appreciate his input, and I've appreciated his friendship in that role. And I think we need to take note that it's not just the school district that he's part of, it's our community.
I'm a student at Uintah High School. I thought, this is for us, right? So the student get up here, which you guys rock, the students are here. I just want to say, I know Mark Dockins. I really love being involved in my school. And I feel very good to be involved. I do theater, I'm in the student council, and I know lots of the faculty and my members at the school, my dad did. But I know Mark Dockins, and he saw me in different things. He's always been like, oh, Brent, I saw your poster. Or, oh, Brent, I saw you in the play. You did a really good job. And it's really good to hear that, just being a student. And to have someone supporting you, I don't know if you guys ever had that. Just, like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean that. It's supporting you as a teenager, and it really feels really good. And you guys are under a lot of pressure, and we appreciate your time. I do. I thank you for making the school I have, and you too. But I just want to say, the students love him, and we want what's best for us, and for our siblings, and for the kids younger than us, for our community, and he's the guy to do it. And so, thank you for letting us talk.
I do not know Mark Dockins. I am not a teacher, and I did not grow up here, so I really in a way indifferent whether or not he is a superintendent. But as the community and seeing the support that is rallied behind him, I struggle to see why there would be a problem with him retaining his position. And I just want you to know that as a school board, as people we trust and honor in being our voice, that if there is something that needs to be known, no, I do not condone dragging people's names through mud. I think that is a very great point that you brought that out, Risha. But if we as a community have something that we need to know that changes our support, then that is probably something to do and let us know about, because we support you and trust you, and we want to keep that trust.
I just want to say, I sent you a letter. I'm going to also submit it to you again. Hopefully you'll read it in your closed session. But just a couple thoughts. I had students contact me today and ask me what was going on, and I had no answer. And so, what is the answer? I think Mr. Key talked about transparency, but we need to know. I had no idea, and I said I had no idea. I said it could be misplaced energy. I stood up for you and said I don't have all the information. I had no answer for the students, and I'm an educator, and I believe in honesty, professionalism, credibility, and all those things. But I had no answer because I know Mark, the man, the person, the parent, the educator. So I just would ask you to think about consistency and continuity. I think our district needs that. Please think about that as you make your decision. I also am so impressed with the students that felt such loyalty. These were teammates of Sierra Dockins that said, we need to be there for Sierra, what's going on? And I again had no answer for them other than I said, I'll try and go find out, I'll let you know, thanks for your concern. And they wanted to know how they could support her and her father. And so please, please think about the history of our district, think about the good things that are happening in our district. And know that Mark Dockins, to read my letter, please, I ask you to read my letter. And know that he is a professional educator, and it is a thankless job to be in the public eye and do what he does every day. Thank you.
Last year, I applied and I interviewed for a high school assistant principal job, and I didn't get it. A better candidate did. I didn't find out via email. I didn't find out by a phone call. Mark came to my classroom. He knew where my classroom was. He came to my classroom and explained why I didn't get the position. He took about 20 minutes to walk me through some of those questions and how I answered them and how I could do it differently, how I could do it better to be a better candidate for the next time it came around. I can't tell you how much that means to me. I've gotten I was an ARL teacher when I was hired here. I probably went through 200 applications, several interviews before I finally found a position here. I moved from Orange County, California to Vernon, and I love this community. And Mark Dockins is emblematic of that community. When he took the time to sit with me and to tell me the things that I needed to hear, I can't tell you how much that meant to me. And I only spent a brief time as an administrator outside of the district, and now I'm with the State Office of Education, and I can tell you through all of those lenses, through being a specialist for the state, from being an assistant principal to being a teacher for 5 years, and a father of 2 children that are still attending the school district, Mark Dockins is an inspiring person, and I know what he's trying to do and his vision for this district is what we need. Whether it's data-driven feedback, whether it's the better instructional practices, all of the things that he's advocated for are for the concerns of the kids, because that's what it comes down to. So as I've heard, if this is a personality issue, that needs to be brushed aside. You need to look at the facts. And the facts are that Mark Dockins has done so much for this district with the exponential growth, the economic decline, and everything in between. He's had to deal with things that other districts don't, because of the way that the economy works here. And I'm proud to know him, I'm proud to call him not only my superintendent, even though I'm not here, I'm proud to call him my friend as well. So I would highly recommend that you guys reconsider not extending his contract. I think it would be a grave mistake. I think not extending his contract and letting him continue his vision here is going to do so much more harm than good. Look at this community who's supporting him. I found out about this morning, and by word of mouth, you had to change venues. You took the time to hear us out, and I really appreciate that. But just seeing all the cars that were lined up when I pulled up here, seeing all the people that are here, shows you the type of person and leader he is, and someone that I would continue to follow. I don't know when my family's going to be able to move out of the school district. But until they do, I'm proud to have him as our leader. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate hearing from each of you. Anyone else want to address the board? Okay. So we have a motion on the table that we need to address. Motion and a second, and then will you please restate the motion?
I make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss personnel.
I think we had a motion on the table to approve did you make the motion, Ellen?
I made the motion to approve, or I should say, to renew the contract of Superintendent Dockins for the next 2 years. That was the motion.
And Mr. Gilroy seconded that. Okay, so are we ready to vote on that?
I still want to go into executive session. There's some things to be ironed out amongst the board.
Okay, so we'll need to vote on this motion, and then we can entertain another motion. All in favor of extending the contract for 2 years, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed, say nay. No.
I abstain at this point until I get some more answers.
Okay, motion fails. So now, would you like to make a motion, Sharon?
I make a motion that we go into executive session.
I have a motion to go into executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Bartlett, aye.
All aye.
I will support that.
Yield aye.
And we will return after closed session.
Just wanted to, before the board takes some official action, for the major information for everybody, the present contract for Superintendent Dockins was put in place by a prior board. That contract actually does not expire till June of 2017. There's some legal questions and issues about that contract that we're not going to talk about here today, but it doesn't expire until June of 2017, and therefore is in place unless the board or somebody else does something to terminate that. So with that information for you, I will step back down the road and let the board proceed.
Thank you, Clark. So I would entertain a motion from the board at this time.
I would like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Yeah, me too. Okay, we are adjourned.